everybody, and welcome to The Power Is Now. My name is Eric Frazier. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for finding us on Blog Talk Radio and on the Power Is Now website at thepowerisnow.com. Today, I have the privilege of interviewing Lisa Rice, the Executive Vice President of the National Fair Housing Alliance, and she's here with us today to talk about their upcoming conference, which is June 26th to the 28th in Washington, the Capitol Hill of Washington. And I'm excited to learn more about it and to learn more about the National Fair Housing Alliance. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us today on The Power Is Now.
Thank you for having me, Eric.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. Lisa, our audience has got an opportunity to get to know you from the interviews we've done at the most recent Fair Housing Conference in Riverside, California. And we also shared with them the incredible presentation you did about zip codes, and how they really define perhaps who you are and what's going on in your life. I thought that was an incredible presentation, and we just really appreciate who you are, what you do. We're glad you're on The Power Is Now TV and radio today.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, folks, we're going to be partnering up with the Fair Housing Alliance to make sure that you are aware of all the issues that are happening with housing throughout the United States, the great work that they do. And so, in fact, Lisa, why don't we start there and just tell our audience a little bit more about the National Fair Housing Alliance and your role there as the Executive Vice President.
Well, Eric, the National Fair Housing Alliance is the nation's only national civil rights organization dedicated solely to eliminating all forms of housing discrimination. We fight housing discrimination in the real estate industry, the lending industry, insurance, rental. We deal with zoning issues, so it really runs the bit. But we also, in addition to enforcing the nation's fair housing laws, we engage in a lot of education and outreach to make sure that consumers and housing providers alike understand the responsibilities, the goals, the rights, and the privileges provided as a part of the United States under the fair housing laws. We also engage in advocacy to promote fair housing. So we work a lot on Capitol Hill to advance fair housing issues and initiatives. And then we also engage in community development. So we're out there working to help revitalize our neighborhoods, to make sure that our neighborhoods are stable and secure, and so that every family can have a future and a great place to live.
Well, Lisa, that is a lot of work. And great work you're doing for the community. And I know you're very passionate about it. We've got to do that show. We talked about this last time to talk about your story, but today's not the day, right?
Today's not the day. We have a great team. We have a great team here at the Fair Housing Alliance. We have a wonderful team of staff. We say we're small but mighty.
Yes, yes. Well, dynamite does come in small packages, right? So clearly you are dynamite, right? Kind of remind me of Good Times for a second there.
Yes.
So Lisa, before we go to break, let's talk about the conference kind of in general. It's coming up very quickly here, and it's going to be in Washington, D.C. Share with our audience what the conference is all about. What do you plan to achieve there?
Well, the conference will be held the end of June, so it actually starts this coming Sunday, and it will be held here in our nation's capital on Capitol Hill, as you mentioned, at the Hyatt Regency. The theme of our conference this year, Eric, is It Starts with Home, Fair Housing for an Equitable Society. And what that means is we understand that zip code matters so much when it comes to accessing so many of the amenities of life. So where you live impacts your educational opportunities, your job opportunities, your healthcare opportunities. It impacts so much about your life. And we want our audiences to understand that fair housing is really the underpinning for all of that. And fair housing is so integral to making sure that all of us live in communities that are ripe and robust and nurturing, and communities where we live is the foundation for ensuring that we have an equitable society going forward. So if your community is a community that is deplete of resources, that lacks resources, you're not going to really be a part of an equitable society. But if your community is ripe and robust and full of resources, then you'll be able to partake in an equitable society.
Well, it sounds fantastic, and it sounds like there will be a lot of opportunity for people to find out where to get those resources. So I assume the attendees will be maybe city managers, mayors, leaders, community leaders. Who would attend a conference like this?
All of the above, in addition to civil rights and fair housing practitioners. There will also be a very healthy representation from our housing industry. So there will be real estate professionals there, lenders, insurance agents, insurance executives. It's really the full panoply. We also will have representations from our federal agencies, so the Department of HUD, the Department of Justice, the Department of Transportation, so forth and so on. So there's going to be a very broad mix of people there.
Sounds like a great opportunity for networking as well, as a real estate professional or a lending professional, right?
Exactly, and that's what we want. We bring together very diverse audiences so that people can network and so that people can build ideas and work on ideas to help further our society and help people who live in our nation.
Well, folks, we're talking to Lisa Rice, Executive Vice President of the National Fair Housing Alliance, and she's talking about the conference that's coming up. The theme, it starts with home, fair housing for an equitable society. The conference will be held in Washington, D.C. at the Hyatt Regency, Washington on Capitol Hill. And so we certainly hope that you'll check it out. So how much does it cost to attend the conference?
Well, that's a great question, Eric. So for non-members, if you are not a member of the National Fair Housing Alliance, the registration fee is $525. And if you are a member of the National Fair Housing Alliance, the registration fee is $425. And I have to say, Eric, that this year we did something very special in partnership with JP Morgan Chase, who is one of the sponsors of the conference. JP Morgan Chase actually gave us some funding to provide special scholarships for persons who have disabilities, and those individuals will be able to attend the conference free of charge. And it's all in an effort to make sure that we're reaching out to people who have disabilities and enfolding them into the fair housing movement to help ensure that they have a voice and a seat at the table of the discussion when we're talking about so many different things that impact how we live and where we can live.
Well, congratulations to Chase for having the wisdom to support a great organization like you and provide this opportunity for people with disabilities. In fact, I was speaking to Rose Mays the other day, and she was telling me that complaints for discrimination with people with disabilities is at an all-time high. So I think that the timing of making a conference like this accessible to people with disabilities who may not be able to afford that ticket, I think is fantastic. Kudos to Chase. Job well done. And kudos to you guys for, even pursuing that type of opportunity, because, $500, clearly you should become a member, right? Save yourself
Right.
$75 to attend. In fact, what does it take to become a member of the National Fair Housing Alliance?
Well, that's a great question. So most of our members are individual members, and that price tag is pretty affordable. It's only about $20 to become an individual member of NFHA. If you would like for your organization to become a member of NFHA, the membership fee is based on the size of the organization. So it's a fluctuating scale. But for individual memberships, we made it very affordable because we want people to be able to participate.
Fantastic. I didn't know it was so inexpensive to become a member. So, folks, let's join the organization and get behind them as they fight the good fight. We're listening to Lisa Rice, and she's on the Power Is Now TV. So glad she's here today. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive in a little deeper on this conference. If you're in Washington, D.C., you got to get down to Capitol Hill and check out what's happening with the National Fair Housing Alliance. We'll be right back, right after this commercial break.
Are you selling or buying a home? You should wait. Or maybe act now. Are you underwater and need to short sale your property or receive a loan modification? Do you really think that's a good idea right now? How will all of this affect your credit? Who knows? A VIP real estate agent does. As a lender and a leader in the mortgage industry for over 31 years, Eric Frazier has had the honor to personally know some of the best real estate agents in the country. So let him make a difference for you. Go to thepowerisnow.com and click on the VIP agent banner. Complete the form and let us personally connect you to the right VIP agent. The power is now.
And we're back. For those of you just joining us, welcome to The Power Is Now. My name is Eric Frazier, and I'm here with Lisa Rice, Executive Vice President of the National Fair Housing Alliance. And we've been talking about the 2016 National Conference. It's going to be held at the Hyatt Regency in Washington on Capitol Hill, 400 New Jersey Avenue, Northwest Washington, D.C. And this conference is all about housing. In fact, their theme is It Starts With Home, Fair Housing for an Equitable Society. Thank you, Lisa, again, for taking time out of your busy schedule just a few days before the conference, and you're on The Power Is Now. Wow, I feel honored.
We feel honored to be here. Thank you so much again for having us.
Now, Lisa, this conference is a big undertaking. Do you have an estimate of how many people will be attending, and how do you pay for all this? You guys are a nonprofit organizations, and I've been involved in nonprofits for many years. It's always a challenge in getting things done and raising the money necessary to make it all happen.
Right. The emphasis, I always like to say the emphasis is on the non. In nonprofit, okay? And you're right, this is a huge undertaking. We're going to have over 400 people attending the conference. So it is a very costly endeavor, and we would not be able to do this without our very, very generous sponsors supporting this effort. So we have actually a record number of sponsors supporting the conference this year. We have a record number of principal underwriters. If I can, I'd love to name them so people can hear who is supporting fair housing and what corporations out there who really are taking this seriously. Absolutely. So our sponsors are Nationwide Insurance Company and State Farm Insurance Company. They are our longtime friends. They have been supporting our conferences for years and years. So they are our chief underwriting principal underwriters. And we also have JP Morgan Chase. I mentioned them a little earlier. AG Spanos. We also have Citigroup, which is new with us this year. We have United Guarantee, which is another new underwriter this year. We have Quicken Loans, another new underwriter, and then we also have Wells Fargo. So that rounds out our principal underwriters for the conference. But we also have a number of other sponsors as well. Our Ruby sponsors are CoreLogic, the Causeway Agency, Morrison Forster, and Vantage Score. And then our silver sponsors are the Mortgage Bankers Association, Plaza Home Mortgage, and Bell Partners. It's really the support of those organizations that make the conference as affordable as it is for people to attend. We are bringing together some of the top thought leaders, some of the top experts in the nation on housing and lending and insurance issues. And if it weren't for our sponsors, the price tag would be $2,000 per person. Yes, so we really do thank our sponsors.
Well, Lisa, I know that you really appreciate your conference leaders, and to bring the price down from what could be $2,000 a month or $2,000 to participate in this to just $500 and $425 if you
$425 and $525.
$525 and $420. That's $100 savings if you're a member, and membership for an individual only costs you $20. So I certainly hope that everyone in Washington, D.C. for sure attends this. And for those of you who are willing to hop on a plane or train or car, get down there and check out what's happening. In fact, let's talk about what is going to happen. Let's get to the details. Over the next 2 days, this is going to be a jam-packed conference full of great information. So share with our audience what your participants will learn.
Well, Eric, you said the right word, jam-packed. The agenda is a packed agenda, and we are bringing together some of the nation's leading experts on fair housing and civil rights issues. We actually have 3 great keynote speakers. We're having Janet Murguia. Janet is the national president and CEO of the National Council of La Raza. We also will have Wade Henderson, who is the Chief Operating Officer and the President of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, and we're so happy to have Wade this year. And we also will have Jim Carr, who is a national expert on fair housing and fair lending issues. And I see you smiling because you know Jim Carr so well. His research in the area of housing and lending has just been so profound, and we're excited. We cannot wait to hear what he's going to have to share with us this year. We also have extended an invitation to Secretary Julian Castro, who is the Secretary of HUD. We're awaiting his word. Apparently, the White House is vying for his attention. So he's either going to attend a White House event or be able to be at our conference. But we have some other wonderful speakers too. Sunday morning, we actually are starting out with our legal update and our legal roundtable. And this is something that we do every time we have a national conference. And we bring together a couple of the leading civil rights attorneys in the nation to go over the year for us and to provide a review over the past year of all of the legal updates, all of the Supreme Court cases, all of the appellate court cases, all of the groundbreaking cases that are making an impact on fair housing opportunities in America. So that's Sunday afternoon. That is a very full event. People are vying for seats. People get there early, and they put down their cups and their purses and everything, stake out their place because this is a rare opportunity to get this kind of a legal update. And then on Monday, we are going to open with a plenary session on home ownership. And that is going to be a really interesting. We're bringing together Sean Bacchetti, who is the chief economist for Freddie Mac. We also will have on that roundtable Joseph Neary, who is the president of the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. We're going to have Ed Golding, who is the head of FHA. And you know how important FHA is for lending in America today. So we're Ed Golding. We also will have Peter Carroll, who is the executive vice president of Quicken Loan. And we will have Martin Eakes, who's the president and CEO of Self Help. And that session, and we're going to talk about home ownership opportunities in America. We can do to expand opportunities for middle Americans who are able to purchase housing in this market because they can't, quite frankly, get a loan because the market is so tight. So that's going to be a very interesting session. And then we're having other sessions featuring other leaders in civil rights and advocacy. Nikitra Bailey from the Center for Responsible Lending, Solomon Green from the Urban Institute, Hillary Shelton from the National NAACP. So we're having a number of sessions dealing with issues like disparate impact, issues like affirmatively furthering fair housing. We also are having a special panel on the future and what we see in terms of future projections that might happen in the upcoming election, future projections for fair housing in America. So it's a very, very robust agenda.
It sounds like it is. And wow, it's just a lot of information, great information, some very influential people and speakers and leaders. Lisa, you guys put this together. You should be very proud of what you have happening here in Washington. This has got to be the event for the month of June, right? At least to go to Washington.
It is, Eric, you are right. It is the event for the month of June, and we're so excited to have it. And I should also say that peppered throughout the conference, we're going to be having some performances, live performances by national artists who are going to share their artistry with us and motivate us with their spoken art and with their words. So we're looking forward to that too.
You know, I want to do another show with you about the poetry contest you do every year. And I too am a poet. So who knows, maybe I will attempt to participate at the next one. But that's great. You're going to be interjecting some poetry and spoken word throughout the sessions. And, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if Jim Carr could rock a little on the mic, you know? He's such a bright guy. And please give him my regards. We have great conversations. He's written for the magazine. He's been on the show. Jim Carr is a definitely team member of the Power is Now radio and TV. So please give my regards to him.
I certainly will. Jim Carr is a man of many talents, and he and I have written a number of articles together. In fact, we're writing a chapter together in an upcoming book to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Fair Housing Act. Give him your regards, and who knows, he might do a performance for us.
That would be wonderful. Well, folks, I'm certainly just remiss that I can't be there. But if you are in Washington, D.C., you have no excuse. And if you're in a neighboring community, you have no excuse. Now, truth of the matter is, if you're serious about networking and learning about fair housing and seeing what's going on and hearing from the attorneys, it doesn't matter where you are, you should go. You should attend this event. And I only wish we had more time to promote this event on The Power Is Now, given the fact it's just this coming Sunday. But you can still make it if you want to. Am I right about that, Lisa?
That's right. And we're even doing on-site registration. So come fantastic. On down, even the last day, come on down. We'd be happy to have you.
Well, this has been a great mini show, and I appreciate you taking time away from the conference to come on and share with our audience about what's happening in Washington, D.C. Any final comments, any final words before we go?
Eric, you know, I'm so excited about this conference because it's not often that we have the opportunity to bring together professionals from across the country to talk about fair housing and to talk about ways and strategize about ways that we can expand equal housing opportunities for Americans. This is so important. You know, most people don't know that your home is the largest financial investment you will ever make. For most of us, our house equity comprises over 2/3 of our net worth. So home matters, place matters, and zip code matters. And what we are working to do is to make sure that every place is a place of opportunity and that every child in America has the chance, has the fair chance to grow up in a community that is nurturing and that provides that child with the resources that they need to live out their dreams and fulfill their destinies. That's what we want for all of our children. That's what I want for my child. That's what I want for your child. We encourage people to come out if you can to take advantage of all of the knowledge that will be shared at the conference. And if you can't, don't worry about it. We're going to be live tweeting. So follow us on Twitter. We're going to be shooting up Facebook posts. We'll put some video up. So you will be able to see content from the conference, even if you're not able to be there.
Well, Lisa, I'm so excited for you. And I'm also excited for the Power Is Now because I realize that some of the sessions will be closed there, but many will not be. And the Power Is Now will be recording some of those sessions so that our audience can hear what's happening, what's being said about fair housing. And so we appreciate the opportunity to capture some of the content that will be taking place at the conference. And I'm just really looking forward to learning. You know, I learned so much at the most recent Fair Housing Conference in Riverside. And we didn't have the level and the number of speakers that you're having here in Washington. This is really a phenomenal event, the place to be in Washington, D.C. between June 26th and 28th. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Our conference, well planned. And I'm looking forward to having you back on to debrief and talk about what happened. So let's make sure we get that done in the next coming weeks.
Thank you. We'll do that, Eric. Thanks so much.
Well, folks, there you have it. Another show, The Power Is Now. Please follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. In fact, do the same thing with the National Fair Housing Alliance. Follow them on Twitter, like them on Facebook. Stay engaged with what's happening with fair housing, with lending, with real estate. And you can do that right here on The Power Is Now radio and TV. Well, remember, we are at our best and we maximize our success when we act now. The power is now. Thank you for joining us. Have an awesome day. See you soon right here on The Power Is Now.